Imagine this. You walk into the office on Monday morning. Everyone is busy. Emails are flying. Meetings are happening. People look productive. Yet, somehow, the important work isn't moving. Deadlines keep slipping. Customers are complaining. Projects stall. And every solution seems to require one person. You. If you are not following up, nothing happens. If you are not reminding people, nothing gets done. If you are not making every decision, everything slows down. Eventually, leadership becomes less about leading and more about carrying the entire organization on your back. Here is the surprising truth. Execution problems are rarely caused by lazy employees. They are usually caused by invisible organizational misalignment. Today, I'm going to show you why most organizations try to fix execution the wrong way, and how you can dramatically improve execution without working longer hours or exhausting your leaders. Because execution should be powered by the organization, not by one exhausted individual. Let's get into it. Let's find out how this should work in organizations. Most organizations believe this. If execution is poor, people simply need more accountability. So what happens? More meetings are established. More reports are required. More follow-ups. More WhatsApp reminders. More dashboards. More pressure. It's like trying to make a car move faster by pushing harder on the steering wheel. The steering wheel isn't the problem. The engine is. Organizations often confuse activity with execution. They are completely different. These are completely different things. Activity creates motion. Execution creates progress. Think about the Avengers. Imagine Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Thor, all incredibly talented. Now, imagine every Avenger receives a different mission with no common objective. Would they be busy? Absolutely. Would they accomplish anything meaningful? Probably not. Talent without alignment creates chaos. Exactly the same thing happens inside organizations. That is the same thing that happens in organizations. Most leadership burnout doesn't begin with stress. It begins with compensation. Leaders quietly compensate for broken systems. Someone forgets, the leader remembers. Someone delays, the leader follows up. Someone isn't sure what to do, the leader decides. Someone avoids responsibility, the leader steps in. Eventually, the leader becomes the system. That's dangerous because organizations should depend on systems, not personalities. I often ask leaders one question. If you disappeared for 2 weeks, what would stop? The answer tells me everything. If the answer is everything, you don't have an execution problem. You have an organizational alignment problem. Burnout is often the invoice for organizational confusion. Yes, burnout is the invoice for organizational confusion. Here is something fascinating. Two organizations can have exactly the same strategy, the same budget, the same technology, the same number of employees, yet one consistently outperforms the other. Why? Because execution isn't driven by strategy alone. It is driven by interpretation. Every employee interprets priorities differently. Managers define urgency differently. Departments measure success differently. Nobody intentionally creates confusion. They simply operate from different mental maps. That is what I call my framework, the organizational cognitive alignment model. Because organizations don't execute what leaders intend. They execute what people understand. And there's a massive difference. There's a massive difference between the two. Through years of working with organizations, I've noticed 4 invisible leaks. Leak number 1, priority misalignment. Everyone thinks everything is urgent. When everything matters, nothing truly matters. Leak number 2, decision bottlenecks. Every decision climbs the organizational ladder. Members, managers wait, teams wait, projects wait, customers wait. Meanwhile, the leaders become the busiest people in the company. Not because they are leading well, but because the organization cannot think without them. The organization cannot think without them. Link number 3, ownership ambiguity. Have you ever heard this? I thought you were handling it. Or, I assumed somebody else had already done it. Ownership wasn't transferred. It was assumed. Assumption is one of the execution's greatest enemies. Link number 4, interpretation drift. One instruction, 5 different understandings, 10 different outcomes. Communication didn't fail. Interpretation did. That is why repeating yourself doesn't solve the problem. Improving shared understanding does. Most organizations ask, how do we make people work harder? I see a different question. How do we make execution easier? That's an entirely different mindset. Instead of increasing pressure, increase priority. Instead of adding supervision, improve ownership. Instead of chasing people, align decisions. Instead of motivating every Monday, instead of motivating everyone every Monday, design a system that naturally supports execution. Think of Google Maps. It doesn't shout at every 5 seconds. It doesn't. It simply provides clear direction. People don't need constant motivation when the path is obvious. Organizations work the same way. The clearer the organization architecture, the less energy leaders spend correcting mistakes. Execution becomes almost predictable. Not because people changed, because the system changed. This is exactly why I developed the organizational community alignment model. Because sustainable execution isn't created through pressure. It is created through alignment. The model helps organizations align 4 critical areas: decision making, priorities, ownership, and accountability. When these 4 areas become aligned, communication becomes easier, meetings become shorter, people become more proactive, leaders stop carrying everyone's responsibilities, and execution begins to accelerate naturally, not through force, but through coherence. Organizations don't need more heroic leaders. No. They need healthier systems. That is what they need. If your organization constantly depends on 1 or 2 exhausted leaders, don't immediately ask, who isn't working hard enough? Who isn't working hard enough? Instead, ask, what inside our organization keeps creating dependence? Because every recurring execution problem is usually pointing toward a recurring alignment problem. Fix the alignment and execution improves without burning out your leaders, without endless meetings, without micromanagement, without constantly reminding adults to do what they already agreed to do. If this video challenged the way you think about execution, I would love to hear from you. What is the biggest execution challenge your organization is currently facing? Leave it in the comments. I read everyone. And if you would like to learn more about how the organizational cognitive alignment model helps organizations eliminate execution breakdown, subscribe to the channel. Every week, I share practical strategies to help leaders build organizations that perform consistently without depending on exhausted heroes. Because great organizations don't run on pressure, they run on alignment. I will see you in the next video.